Remember this, is that people are time wasters, and the great majority of people have no goals, they have no priorities, they have no plans, they have no concern about becoming successful, and they think that you're the same. They think because their time isn't worth anything, that your time isn't worth anything also.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
That's one of your top
It is.
3 pieces.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You want to know why you're all fucked up? Just look at the fucking bums you hang around with.
What is the best advice you've ever heard or received?
Spend so much time on self-improvement that you have no time to criticize others.
Today, I'm going to be teaching you about 7 rules, and if you follow them, I guarantee you 2025 will be your best year yet. Not only am I in the best shape of my life, I have become the most successful version of myself. I have no debt. Everything I own is paid off. I have saved and invested well over $100,000. I've been able to quit my full-time job, become self-employed, reach my financial goals, and do anything that I want without having to answer to anyone. Now, I'm not here to motivate you. I'm simply here to tell you the 7 rules that I instilled into my life that changed my life forever. And honestly, majority of you probably don't even have what it takes. But for the 1% that do, I guarantee you, you will see a huge change over this year. Rule number 1, you are who you associate with.
If you spend time with losers, you will be a loser yourself. Get away from the losers. Get away from the no-hopers. Get away from the negative people, because these people will drag you down as surely as an anchor would drag you down if it was tied to your leg. 99% of the failure rate in life could be attributed to associating with people who were going nowhere. Because we're so strongly influenced by the people around us. We talk like them, we walk like them, we take on their attitudes, their values, their beliefs, their expectations, even their self-concepts. If we associate with negative people, critical people, cynical people, lazy people, people who waste their time, we will become exactly like them.
Remember this, is that people are time wasters, and the great majority of people have no goals, they have no priorities, they have no plans, they have no concern about becoming successful, and they think that you're the same. They think because their time isn't worth anything, that your time isn't worth anything also.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
That's one of your top
It is.
3 pieces.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You want to know why you're all fucked up? Just look at the fucking bums you hang around with.
You're going to have to watch this video over and over and over again. I don't know how many times until you can truly instill and remember these 7 rules. This is how important they are. Now, the way I have ordered these rules is to get progressively harder, but anyone and everyone can start with rule number 1 and take the time to reflect internally on who you surround yourself with, who you let in your front door. I take very seriously who I let in my inner circle, who I let in my inner kin, because their opinions, their mindset, and their attitude will rub off on me. We can very easily be influenced by others. So take a moment to reflect on who you're associating with. Who are your closest friends? If you don't like who they are, if they are no-hopers, if they are negative, if they have settled and are stuck and don't want to aspire to be anything, that is a reflection on you, and you are most likely going to settle and do the same thing that they are. Now, I know sometimes we can't let go of everyone. Sometimes it's a family member. Sometimes it's a close friend that we just can't let go of, and that's okay, and I will show you a way around this. But for the time being, focus on who we're going to let in now. And if we can let some people go, or at the bare minimum, distance ourselves from people who are pulling us down. They are anchors in our life if we're trying to become successful.
You have to listen to the people who are closest to your goals, not closest to you. There's, that famous Harvard study that found out that people's net worth was correlated with their reference group. Now, a lot of people mistakenly say it's the 5 people you spend the most time with, but I believe it's the 5 people you compare yourself to. Fundamentally, the people that are in your surroundings, if they don't have what you want, don't listen to what they say. And I think it's hard to do because as humans, we're social creatures and we learn to listen to the opinions of others. When you're a child, you say, is this good or bad? And an adult says, that's good, that's bad. And you kind of incorporate it. That's how you learn how to make your way in the world. Then you become an adult and you realize that some of the people who gave you your good and bad advice are actually morons. Because you meet them now and it's Doug and you're like, Doug's an idiot. I listened to Doug. It's like, well, I was 8 years old and I didn't know any better. But I think honestly, a lot of adulthood is fundamentally unlearning things and choosing to know that you believe your beliefs for your own reasons. And so I think that if you cannot explain why you believe what you believe, it's not your belief, it's someone else's.
Negative people ruin your life. There was actually a study that was done in 2006. It was called the bad apple effect, where they took groups of 5 people and randomly added a negative person to some of the groups to see how it would affect the group while they were working on tasks. The groups that had one negative person did 40% worse on all of their tasks, and the quality of their work decreased by 25%. They also found that groups that had a negative person had 50% more conflicts and more disagreements, which led to less effective collaboration. The crazy part about it though, these sessions were only like 30 to 60 minutes. Some of you have had negative people in your life, your entire life though. Imagine what they're doing to you mentally.
It's one thing that I take very seriously, like I said, and it's who I let in my inner circle. And that's because mindset is everything. And it is very easy. Negativity is so infectious. And if you let it creep into your life, it can destroy years of progress just like that. And like Alex Hermosi said, sometimes it's hard to let go of certain people. Sometimes you can't. You live with them. You have a roommate. Things like that, that just at this moment, you can't let go of them. And that's okay because there's not that much room at the top. As you start to progress and as you start to achieve your goals and become more wealthy and more successful and maybe even more motivational, there's not that much room up there. And what happens is there are less and less people like you. At the bottom, the no-hopers, the no-sayers, the no-goers, the negative ones, there's tons, hundreds of millions of them all at the bottom. And it's very easy to find like-minded people like that. And as you start to make your way up the ladder, there are less and less. And that is why it's important to align who you are with the goals of people you want to associate yourself with. And the way around doing that is, yes, maybe it's very hard to find other millionaire friends because there's a lot less millionaire friends than there are people in debt. And the way you can associate them is by doing 2 things: reading and podcasts. These are 2 huge ways to surround yourself with like-minded people. This year, I made a goal with myself to start reading. And since then, so much has changed. The amount of influential minds that I can relate to and read and look up to has finally become accessible to me and in my circle, something that I didn't think I could ever find. Podcasts online of people that you aspire to be or want or look up to can now be accessible and in your inner circle. So just because some people you associate with are negative doesn't mean you have to include them in your inner circle. You can find other ways of incorporating positive, like-minded individuals within your life. Rule number 2, fitness is the gateway drug to success.
When I see a fit and athletic man, I can tell you immediately he's got several great traits. He's got the trait of consistency. He's got the trait of focus. He's got the trait of discipline. He's got the trait of delayed gratification. And he's got grit. Because no man who's fit and athletic just fell out of his mother's vagina that way. If you are fit and athletic, it's because you have put yourself through consistent workouts and constant clean eating over a long period of time through the traits of discipline, focus, consistency, and delayed gratification, and you have grit. Fitness is the gateway drug. I've said this before in previous episodes. I've got a whole episode about fitness being the gateway drug, but fitness is the gateway drug to success. Fitness is the gateway drug to confidence, to mental toughness, to emotional discipline, to being even happier in life, to better relationships, because someone who's fit, who is not critical of their body, someone who is confident about how they look and how they carry themselves, they're just going to be a happier, more successful person because you don't feel like an imposter. You don't feel like a phony. You don't feel like, man, you're being judged by others. Like I could walk into a room at 50 years old and I could tell people are like, and by the way, I'm talking about people who don't know who I am. And quite honestly, I know that when I'm fit, I'm more mentally tough. I'm more emotionally tough. I could fight off depression, anxiety, overwhelm, stress more. I could fight off a cold or a flu. Like fitness truly is the gateway drug to all categories of happiness.
Fitness is the gateway drug to success. Fitness is the gateway drug to happiness. Say it over and over and over again. I have been going to the gym, working on my body, bettering myself for close to 10 years now. It's almost been a decade since I was 16, 17 years old. I'm 26 now. 9 to 10 years every single day. There hasn't been more than maybe a week's worth of days in the past decade that I've taken off from the gym. And there's reason for it. It's not so much the result of fitness. It's everything that comes with it. Yes, everybody wants to have the fittest, most in shape body, the six-pack abs, so on and so forth, but that's not really what matters. It's everything that you had to learn that got you there, the values, it's the dedication, it's the discipline, it's the consistency, it's eating clean. It's getting a goal and hitting it. It's seeing slow progress. It's delayed gratification. All of these things, all of these core values are what you need that will inevitably help you get to where you want to be. I've taken all of these things that I have learned and I've applied them to every aspect of my life, and I have seen the same growth and results, slow and steady. Nothing worth anything comes instantly, and I have seen huge progress over just the past 3 to maybe 4 years. And if you've never done any of these things, then this year is going to be insane for you. I don't want to hear you don't have time. I don't want to hear you're too tired. Nobody has time. Everybody's tired. Get up and go do it. What you don't realize is in the gym is one of the only places in the world where people are going to better themselves. Every single person in there is doing something positive, is trying to make themselves better. No other place can you find where every single person is trying to do better for themselves. Rule number 3, be a producer, not a consumer.
Imagine being so stupid that somebody's out there printing money. Somebody's printing money, and on the counter, you're working for it, and then you're getting taxed because they need your taxes in order to run the government. When they could just print it. It makes no sense whatsoever. So stop working for money. Stop working for a paycheck. Start working towards a life that instills freedom and instills your ability to produce money without you having to work. Now, that may sound like insane for 99% of people. So where do you start? You start by not spending. You start by not being a consumer, but being a producer. So most people are consumers. That's why they're always in the rat race. If you're producing, you're always being able to generate income, but you don't want to be producing just with your time. You want to be producing with systems. Now you have AI, now you have automation, now you have software. Dude, you can literally be making money while you sleep.
Once you have laid out the groundwork and the foundation, then you can start to change the way you think and the way you perceive things. Once you have narrowed in your inner circle of friends, once you've surrounded yourself with positivity and learned the core values that come with fitness and working on yourself, then you can change your mindset. Instead of viewing things as a consumer, you can start to view things as a producer. You change shoes. You start to view things through another lens. Instead of being the consumer in stores, buying, spending, start to think about what would life be like on the other side. 99% of everyone in this world are consumers and buyers, and their brains are just off. Once you can think like the giants, like the 1%, that's when things start to change. Now, it's going to be hard at first. It's very difficult to create a product or a service that people want. And that's why it's very important, like he said, to focus in on your spending. That is something internally that you can control, and only you. Yes, we might not have control of our income at first, but what we do have control over is how often we pay with a credit card, how often we spend our cash. That's something that we can get under control, that we can reduce. Once we can reduce that, then we start to have excess money, excess reserves. We can start to fund things. We can start to invest in things, invest in ourselves, in our businesses, in our hobbies. Things start to become different. Then and only then can we start to become a producer? You can start testing products, coming up with ideas. Think of something that's already been created and just tweak it a little bit. That's all there is. Be the next Burger King to McDonald's, the next Starbucks to Dunkin' Donuts, the next Enterprise to Hertz. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just change it slightly. This thing right here can make you millions of dollars. YouTube, TikTok, social media, selling a product, drop shipping. Tons and tons and tons of services and products that you can create without ever having to step out of your house. Rule number 4, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
Most of the limitations we have do not exist in reality. They exist only in your own mind.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
You've got to believe it. And if there's no belief, it ain't going to happen. See, when you believe it, you're encased in the idea. You fuse with the idea. And that makes all kinds of things happen.
You do become what you think about most of the time. You also become what you say to yourself most of the time.
Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not a philosophy. This is physics.
The brain transmits and receives frequency. Those frequencies affects physical matter in the universe at the quantum level.
You become what you think about. If you change what you expect, you change what you believe, you change your dominant thoughts, you change your inner workings, you begin to attract into your life people, circumstances, events, opportunities, and everything consistent with your new thoughts. The reason people are unsuccessful is they think thoughts of unsuccess or failure. Another line, which is very, very important, says that all causation is mental. We live in a mental universe. If you wish to change your universe, you have to change your mentality. And this brings us to the most important line of all, which is simply this: change your thinking and you change your life.
We become what we think about most of the time. And that's the strangest secret. This is why thinking is so vital. This is why a goal is so important, because we will become that. This is why people who set goals achieve them. The trouble with men is not in achieving their goals. They do that. It's in establishing them.
There's a verse in the Bible that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So whatever you're thinking about, that's who you will become. Because thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to habits, habits lead to lifestyle. And that lifestyle is what dictates who you are.
I can't really explain it, but if I see something and if I see it in my head and if I can visualize it in my head, I could just do it, you know?
If you can see it here,
so crazy.
And you have the courage enough to speak it, it will happen.
If you visualize before, you will be more prepared for that moment.
Are you not visualizing the fight?
Yeah, always.
You are.
I always visualize my fight in the night. I know, okay, this happened, I'm gonna do this.
Visualizing at 13, 14, just so everything around me was taken care of when I got to a meet, so I could be completely relaxed. So when I put my headphones on, all I'm thinking about is the music. I get to go up and just do what I practice to do. All of those countless hours of staring at the black line at the bottom of the pool, that was for this moment.
The power of visualization is unlike anything else. Mindset is everything. If you say to yourself, you are a loser, you will be a loser. The power of mindset is what it all comes down to. Once you can get past that barrier, you will be surprised that anything and everything will happen because you are no longer putting up your own walls. People build their own prisons, and you can't help people who build their own prisons and set up their own roadblocks. I was on the verge of failing out of college, not being able to graduate my junior year. But I had a conversation with my parents, with my grandma, and I just decided that I would do it. I would graduate. I graduated with C's. Crazy enough, I still managed to graduate. I still was able to pass college, but it was a mindset. I was telling myself, I don't want to do this. I don't care about this. I don't want to do this. And guess what? It was reflected in my work. And then I told myself, all right, I have to do this. I have to graduate. I have to get out of this. I'll do it for myself. And I did. And surprisingly, I was even able to get better grades that final year than I did the previous 3 years of college. I was so focused on my own business in college and making money that college sometimes just got in the way. And when I graduated, I was speaking with people that I looked up to. You could call them mentors if you want, but they were just friends that I aspired or wanted to have certain things that they had. And they told me too, it was all mindset. And I said, there's no way. He said, make a goal to make $100,000. I said, I'm 21 years old, 20 years old. I can't make $100,000. Are you crazy? Do you know how much money $100,000 is? And he said, change your mindset. Change the way you think and watch. And I said, okay. And the following year, I made over $300,000 in my business. And I was like, that is truly incredible. So now you can accomplish literally anything you put your mindset to. 2 years ago, I wanted to start another channel on YouTube. I wanted to rebuild cars. I bought a completely destroyed and totaled car. And through the power of visualization, even after seeing it wrecked, I told myself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to fix it. We're going to get it done. Keep in mind, I have never worked on a car ever before. The most I've ever done was an oil change at the time. And I persevered, and somehow I figured it out and rebuilt it. And I have it all on my other channel. And I just keep proving to myself that I can do anything I set my mind to. Anything I visualize and say out loud, I can accomplish. Rule number 5, set a goal.
One of the major reasons for setting goals is for what they make of you in achieving them. My teacher advised me when I first got started at age 25, he said, Jim, why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? He said, it's got a nice ring to it, you know, enough zeros to impress your accountant. Why don't you set a goal to become a millionaire? And he said, here's why. And I thought, he doesn't need to teach me why. Wouldn't it be nice to have $1 million? He said, no, then you'll miss it. He said, here's why. For what it will make of you to achieve it. I'm telling you, that statement changed my life. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve them. He said, now, once you become a millionaire, what's important is not the money. I thought, that's kind of strange teaching. He said, honest, it isn't important. He said, you could just give the money away. Now, I did better than that. I lost it all. By the time I was 31, I was a millionaire. By the time I was 33, I was broke. But when I lost all my money, guess what? I found out Mr. Schoaf was right. What was valuable was not the money. What was valuable was what I became to earn the money. The skills I had, the knowledge I had about the marketplace, the values that I had going for me. They were more valuable than the money. And here's an important statement to remember. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become. So part of the key here is to set the kind of goals that will make something of you. Don't set them too low, so that you don't have to grow and you don't have to read and you don't have to try and you don't have to stretch. Don't set them too low.
Keep your goals confidential. Keep goals confidential. Don't discuss your goals with anybody. Except that the great majority of people are threatened by anybody who has a goal. They're worried. It makes them feel inferior and inadequate because they don't have goals of their own. So only discuss your goals with people who also have goals of their own. Discuss them with the people close to you whose help you need to accomplish them. But just don't discuss your goals with people at random, and don't give them a chance to shoot the goals down.
And you can't discuss those goals with the people around you if your inner circle is negative, because all they are going to want to do is sabotage you and bring you down and ruin those goals because they don't want to see you succeed. Envy is something that we're all born with, and people will try to do whatever they can to pull someone down if they see you succeeding and advancing without them. So really be very mindful and very specific with who you choose to tell certain information to. Write it down in your diary before you go out and tell the world it, because not everybody is out to help you. And remember to set goals that will make something of you, where you will be a better person than who you were just yesterday or last year. That's the type of goals that you want to set for yourself, whether it's fitness, diet, health, financial, wealth, success, motivation, whatever it is, whether you want to build something or create something, a hobby, set it big. Rule number 6 is take the risk.
Take the biggest fucking risks of your entire life.
right now. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big, because the only constant in your life for the rest of your life is change.
The only way to become more successful than most people is to be willing to do something most people aren't willing to do.
Look, anybody can do things that are easy. You know, it's like, how do you behave when things are difficult or when the shit hits the fan? That's what defines you.
Everything worth doing is hard, and the more worth doing it is, the harder it is. The greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. If it's hard, good, it means no one else will do it. More for you.
Make your move before you're ready. I'll tell you where big dreams go to die.
Tell me.
They go to the planning place, getting ready place, preparing myself. And it's the biggest con job we work on ourselves. There are so many bones of big dreams in that graveyard where people, it's always something that there's always going to be a set of reasons to wait. When are you going to take the risk?
It's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive.
If you're going to do it, do it. Say what you can do.
Do what you can say.
Do what you say. If you can't do it, don't say you can do it. Don't over-leverage yourself. Don't over-leverage a decision and then jump in and kind of dip a toe. I think I'll try it out. No, think if you're going to try it out beforehand, but when it's time to go, dive. Finish it. Find out. Come out the other side.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way.
If you give it your all, you don't half-ass it. Win, lose, draw, get what you want, don't get what you want, whatever the outcome is, if you don't half-ass it, at least you're not going to have to wonder, oh, would the outcome have been different? What if I did give it my all? And boy, wondering that is what keeps us up at night.
I would rather live in a world of oh wells than what ifs. I would rather live in a world of oh wells than what ifs. Our mindset is the biggest thing that holds people back. It's the biggest thing that will hold you back, is not taking the risk. Dreams go to die in here. Millionaires, investors, the cure for cancer goes to die in here because people are choosing not to. Don't overthink it. If it comes to you and it sounds like a good idea, don't think it over too much, because eventually you will talk yourself out of doing it. I used to do this all the time. No, I won't go on YouTube. No, people aren't going to like my videos. No, why would I build a car? I'm not going to be able to actually fix it. It sounded like a good idea at first, but the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't have what it takes to rebuild it. I don't have what it takes to figure it out. I cut myself off and I said, no, we're going to do it. And I thought it was a good idea at first, and then I just did it. And look at what I've accomplished. I said I would start a YouTube channel. I did it. I said I would make $100,000. I did it. The more you think on it, the more you are going to talk yourself out of it. So just do it. Rule number 7. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most.
To be successful at anything, the truth is you don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it. No shortcuts.
As long as you have a lot of determination and willpower, that's all you need. And you have to have the will to win.
You can fucking achieve the absolute impossible. You don't need great parents. You don't need like a private school. You don't need to have this humongous GPA and all this other shit. What you need was a straight up, brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world.
If you keep grinding from January 1st to December 31st of this year, I'm telling you right now, I don't know how big this something will be, but something is bound to happen. It only takes 1 year for somebody to blow up. I'm not even gonna lie, it only takes 1 year for somebody to blow up. I know some of y'all be needing motivation. Let me tell y'all right now, get up off your ass and go crazy. I'm telling y'all right now, whether it's YouTube, whether you wanna rap, whether you wanna sing, whether you're in college and you wanna do something, grind, grind, grind. From January to December, something is bound to happen.
Here's my advice to you today. Walk away from the 97%. Don't talk like they talk. Don't act like they act. Don't go where they go. Don't specialize in what they specialize in. Throw away the blame lists they cling to. Start you a new life. Switch gears, switch language, switch ideas, switch strategy. Start with the simplest of disciplines. And don't bemean any of these disciplines. The smallest of disciplines starts the process of life change. And if you'll invest in this thing called discipline, you can have whatever you wish. It's called the beginning of a miracle.
What is the best advice you've ever heard or received?
Spend so much time on self-improvement that you have no time to criticize others.
Spend so much time on self-improvement that you have no time to criticize others. If you have time to make fun of someone, you're not working hard enough. You need to be so busy that you don't have time to be paying attention to what others are doing. That's how hard you need to work. What people don't realize is you only need to be successful once. You can fail 5 times, 10 times, 100 times. You only need to be successful once, and your whole world can change. There are so many days in the year, 365 days in this year, for just one thing to happen and everything will change. But it's funny because most of you, majority of you, don't have what it takes. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it how it is. Majority of you are not going to be able to do it. Majority of you are too soft, are too weak, are not disciplined, and just do not have what it takes to stand up for yourself and to chase after what it is that you want. That's just how it is. Like I've always said, there's not enough room in this world for everyone to be millionaires, and that's okay. It's what sets us apart from everyone else. So this is your time to think on it. Think about what it is that you want. I'm not even going to end this video because you need to go rewatch this. I don't know how many times, 2, 3, 4, 5 times until you can remember what all these 7 rules are and instill them into your life. And once you do, come back to me January 1st of next year and tell me something changed. I promise you something will have moved. Something will be better than where you were from last year.